So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the filter formula to filter your data. So this is a great way to show filtered, like on dashboards. I like to filter out my data for very specific information. So our example here, we've got different tasks here. We got due dates and statuses. So if I want to filter my data and only show upcoming tasks, I can actually do that very easily. Now there's a few different examples that we can use this with. We can show only completed tasks if I want to show overdue items, so especially with your budget. If you have payments that are overdue, you could do that. You want to filter habits by category. So if you want to just show specific categories of stuff, you could do that. You can show entries for selected months. So if you want to show, let's say, your expenses or what you spent in March, you can automatically filter that. You can also build dynamic dashboards based off of drop downs to show whatever you want to show. So there's a lot of different options here, but I'm going to show you how to easily do it. So you're going to need some data, whatever data you want, but you need to make sure you need that information. So I want to specifically filter out my tasks, my due date, and my status based off of my status. So I want to show where it's only the upcoming ones. So even if I change this, so let's say this one's saying it's due today. If I change this date and I choose it for upcoming, it automatically updates inside of my filtered data. So anytime you make a change, let's say you change the category that something was based off of, if you change the status of it, it automatically updates in the filtered section. So to do this, we're going to do a very simple formula. So I'm going to select the cell where I want it to do. Now I can either filter it where it's just showing the task name, or I can filter out the entire table if I want to. I'm just going to do, because I have these different options here, I'm going to filter out the entire thing. But if you just want to filter the one area, so your task list, let's say, for example, or if you want to do the bill name or the expense name, whatnot, you just want that to show, you could do that as well. So I'm going to select the cell where I want to put in my filter formula, and that's always going to be in the top left corner of where I want my data to be. So this is my top left corner. I'm going to do the equal sign, filter. It's going to ask me my range. So if I want to show the entire range, I would select the entire range. If I only want to show the tasks, then I would only show the tasks. So it's up to you what you want to do. So I'm going to, let's just do the task one for now. So now I'm going to do a comma. I'm going to ask the condition. So this is where it actually shows you an example where you can show the range and then what you want it to be. So whether it's greater than 5, if you want it to equal something, I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to select it by status, because I want my status, as long as it says upcoming, I want it to show those tasks. So I'm going to select the range of cells, and now I'm going to do equals, and then in quotation marks, I'm going to put upcoming. Now you might want to do this for a category, for example. You would put the category name, just make sure it's in quotation marks, and make sure it's spelled exactly the way it is for your category, because if there's any misspelling, it won't filter the data. So as you can see, that's in there. Now we can add more conditions. Those are optional, because you can see there's the square brackets. So if you have more conditions, you can do more conditions. I'm just going to do the one condition. So basically what I'm saying is I want to filter out the task names based off of if the status is upcoming. So now I'm going to put in my right bracket and hit enter. And as you can see, it's only showing the task names here. So the upcoming ones are task 3, 4, and 5. So if I move this to be as overdue, you can see it doesn't show that one. It automatically takes it out. So now what I want to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing, because repetition is good. It practices and creates that memory inside of your mind. We are going to create the formula, but we're going to do it for the entire range. So I'm going to select the very top left corner where I want to put my filter formula in. I'm going to do equals, the filter. I'm going to select my entire range that I want it to show. And then I'm going to do my comma, and then I'm going to select the condition. So again, we're going to select the range. So let's say I wanted to do overdue ones. So I'm going to select that range. I'm going to do equals, overdue inside of quotation marks, and then my right bracket. And so now it's only going to show the tasks that are overdue, but it's also showing the due date and the status. All right, so now we're going to do a more advanced one. So what if you want to do it where you want to just show the tasks and the statuses, but you don't want to have the due dates? So right now it's showing all 3 of those columns, but I don't want to show the due date. I just want to see the task and the status. So if, or maybe it's might not be that, it's just you want to show the 2 different data points that aren't in the same range, because I could show the task and the due date without the status very easily. I can do that by, instead of having it as this range where it was the entire range, I would just select the two columns that I wanted to show because they're touching each other, right? So I've got my task and my due dates are right next to each other. So I could just enter that and it would just show my task and my due date, and then I could get rid of my status. That is super easy. But what if I want to show just my task and my status? I don't want to show the due date. But if I was to delete my due date here, so let me delete this column, you can see we still have three levels or three different columns of data. Now it's just changed the due date into a currency because I think I had a currency formatting here, but otherwise it would show the date. But there's the wrong ones here. My status is over here, but it's still showing our middle due date here, just as a currency for some reason. So in order to do that, we actually have to do a little bit more of an advanced formula. So I'm going to delete out my current formula in there. We're going to do equals filter. Now, because the task range and the status range aren't touching each other, we actually have to do it slightly different. We have to put the two ranges in a curly bracket. So I'm going to put in, so after filter, we have our regular left bracket, then I'm going to put in my curly bracket. I'm going to select the first range that has my task in it. So this is the first one I want to show, and that's my task. Then I'm going to put a comma, and now I'm going to select my second range, which is my statuses. And then I'm going to close it with my right curly bracket. So that's my range. So it's saying, hey, I want this range and this range to show up together. Now I'm going to put in my comma because now we need to put in the condition. And the condition is I want my status to equals upcoming. And I need to make sure I put upcoming inside of my quotation marks. And then I'm going to put my right bracket and hit enter. So now you can see it's just pulling up the tasks and the upcoming or the statuses based off of upcoming. So if any of these change, like I said, they will automatically be removed, but it's just showing those two. So you can still create a filtered dashboard or like little widget where it's filtering out the data. You don't have to show the entire range. You can show very specific columns if you want to. So that is a few ways you can use the filter formula. And you can also take the filter formula, you can sort it so that it's A to Z or Z to A. You can also put an array constraint, which you could check out some of my other videos where I show you how to do that. But an array constraint is where if you only have the option to show, let's say 5 results, but let's say you have more than 5 results, then it actually constrains it. So it only shows the top 5. It doesn't show all 20 if you have 20 results, for example. So there's a few different things you can actually wrap around your filter formula to get even more specific. So check out the sort formula video as well as the array constraint videos to check out how we do that. So one little fix I'm going to show you in case you have a filter formula that is showing up with no data and it's showing you an error. It's not really an error. It's just saying, hey, we haven't found any matches. I'm going to show you how you can fix that and make it prettier so it doesn't scare off your customers. So for my example here, we have our task with our status and it's showing any upcoming. But let's say all my stuff is either due today or it's overdue. So I have no upcoming ones. And because it's not finding any matches, it's going to give you an NA error, which if you're brand new to Google Sheets and you're looking at this and you're like, oh, it's an error. I don't know what I did. I broke the spreadsheet. If your customers see this, they're going to be messaging you and being like, the spreadsheet's broken. And we don't want that. We want the best experience possible for your customers. So if you have any formulas that create an error like this, it's a natural error. There's nothing wrong with the formula. The formula works perfectly. It just means, hey, we haven't found any filtered matches or filtered results that match your conditions. It's going to give this little NA. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in an if error formula. So we're going to nest it inside saying, hey, if it shows this error, we want it to say something else so it doesn't scare off our customers. To do that, we're just going to double click inside of our formula. And so in between the equal sign and the filter, we are going to write if error. And then I'm going to put my left bracket. So again, this filter formula is just going to show if there is no errors. That's what it's going to show, is that filtered formula. But if there is an error, I'm going to put a comma, and this is what I wanted to say if there is an error. So depends on what you're using your filter for. You can get really cute with what you say. You can add emojis, you can have fun with it, or you could just be very specific. You can give instructions if you want to. But for this one in quotation marks, I'm just going to put no matches found. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks, and then I'm going to put in my right bracket and hit enter. So if there is no matches found, this is what it's going to show up. So there's no error. It doesn't scare away my customers. It's just going to say, hey, there's nothing found for anything that is upcoming. But if there is now something upcoming, it will automatically show. So it's just a nice way to fit it in there, make it look nicer, and not scare away customers. But you can have fun with it. You can say like, depends on what you're using it for. So like for this task list, I might just use an if error and say no matches found. But if you were doing it for something else, let's say you're getting a dividing by zero error because maybe you have a budget and you're trying to find the percentage and it's just saying like your cell has a zero in it or it's blank, so you can't divide by a blank or by a zero. And sometimes we get that error. So you can have fun and put the instructions on being like, put a number there, or you can just put in emojis and make it really cute and do like a happy or a shocked face or a monkey face. Where's my monkey? Monkey face. And be like, just a cute little no matches found. So you can get it really cute. I just have to resize it so that it fits in between. Let's do this 175. There we go. So you can make it really cute if you want to, play around, match it with your branding. But adding that little if error part to it just makes it seem a lot smoother and gives your customer a better experience. So feel free to add that in when you're doing a filter formula. If you are doing a nested formula, so let me just quickly show you my example in my array constraint. So this is where I've nested in a filter formula, a sort formula, and then we got our array constraint. If you've got a big formula like that, always put the if error on the outside. So then that way it's just, if there's any errors throughout any of those different formulas that are nested inside, it will show your specific error message versus having one for each one. So you got different options there, but yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Hey, if you're new to Google Sheets and you want a free mini course, check out the Wild Heart Spreadsheet Academy. It's completely free. I'll link it below. It's just a free course to help you get the basics of Google Sheets down and help you create beautiful spreadsheets. You'll also learn how to create this beautiful weekly planner, and you'll also get a free custom GPT to help you decide on your first 5 spreadsheet ideas. So if you want to check that out, it's completely free. I'll link it below. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you later.